Brendan Wales, an investor at E.Ventures. Brendan, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Brendan, we're here at South by Southwest. Tell me what you're doing here. I mean, you're an investor for E.Ventures. What are you out here looking for?
I'm looking to meet great people, which is, there's a lot of them, so finding the best ones is always challenging. But so both from an investor standpoint, meeting great people, and then also trying to find startups too.
Great. So, for those that don't know about E.Ventures out there, tell us a little bit about what you guys do, who's in your portfolio, and maybe what you guys are looking for in companies out there.
Yeah, totally. So we've got a pretty unique structure in that we essentially have 5 local funds all throughout the world with dedicated teams, funds, and partners there investing. So we have a team in San Francisco, which is where the first fund initially started in 1998. Added Germany, which is where all the partners are originally from, in the early 2000s, and then slowly added Russia, Brazil, and China and Japan over the last couple of years. And so our core focus is consumer. 75 to 80% of our investments are just pure B2C, and then the remaining 20 to 25% are kind of at the infrastructure layer. On the consumer side, we have made a lot of investments in the past with a presence kind of at the local angle, so where the businesses essentially figure it out in one geographical area and then kind of move from one place to another. So Angie's List, we were the first institutional capital in there. Groupon, we did an international rollout of City Deal and some other companies, which was rolled back into Groupon International, which is pretty interesting. And so yeah, just trying to find different things, and then we can help them expand internationally should they ever need to do so. But the core focus is in their geographical area first.
So before we get to internationally, let's talk a little bit here. Locally, Texas, San Francisco, and really just here in the United States. What are you seeing as the emerging trends for startups and new companies, and what you guys might be looking for in terms of investment?
Yeah. I think we've done a lot of investing in marketplaces, so that's one area that we like to focus on, for instance. So we recently made an investment in a company called Spot Hero, which is essentially a parking garage management tool. So they help the parking garages get new customers. So they're in Chicago, and they're figuring it out there, and then they'll slowly expand to new markets. So
I think they should come to Los Angeles and New York City and maybe even San Francisco. I think that those might be 3 great cities.
Over time. And so another good example is a company called Munchery, an investment we just made, actually. A fantastic company that we are really, really excited about. And so they're really shifting the way in which people get delivery food. So if you were to try to get food delivered to your house tonight, for instance, it has to be in San Francisco. You don't really have very many options, so you could get some pizza, maybe some Chinese food. Really tough to get healthy options. And so what Munchery does is they work with chefs locally. They have them cook bulk meals. They get individually packaged and delivered to customers in the evenings within an hour window, essentially. And they built their own logistics platform. It's pretty amazing. So we're super excited about that.
Great. And so they're right now just based in San Francisco and are looking to branch out?
Yeah, San Francisco and the Bay Area. So that's a Series A investment for us. So they're just figuring it out there, and then over time we can discuss going to other markets. But either way, it's fantastic, and we're super pumped about it.
So now let's turn our focus back over to international. You guys you mentioned that you guys are heavily into marketplaces here in the U.S. I mean, are you seeing the same type of investments or trends, outside in, for instance, Russia or China?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say in China, there's a much more focus on mobile. Maybe not. I guess there's not as much of a robust system on the marketplace side, where they're not going super deep into particular verticals like here in the U.S., where there's kind of all taking a piece of Craigslist over time. So I guess the initial emerging players are coming out of Asia, and the same thing's coming in Russia. So one of our partners actually in Russia created one of the largest e-commerce sites called Kupi Veep, and they helped build essentially the e-commerce infrastructure there. And so those are the things that are needed in order to build more and more companies out of it. And so those are the things that are needed in all the other markets too. So, but yeah, so marketplaces are always a focus for us because we understand kind of the supply and demand and how to scale that up over time.
Great. So, I mean, you've mentioned a few places that you guys are internationally. if you had to pick maybe one or two, maybe even three cities, internationally, what would you think, or what would you say are kind of the up and coming cities for the next kind of tech scene or area that you might want to expand into in terms of investing?
Outside of the U.S.?
Yeah, outside of the U.S. Unless you have a favorite city in the U.S. that you just can't, you think that's going to, let's do both.
I don't know. Austin's growing on me. It's quite a bit. I'm having a good time here. I think Seattle is very interesting as well. I think there's the kind of the underlying infrastructure from an engineering perspective in order to build really great companies. LA is doing some interesting stuff as well. From an international perspective, I mean, we have presence in Berlin. We have an office there, and that's kind of the big tech hub in Europe. And then we also have some coverage in London as well, which there's also some good stuff happening there. I find we're not in India. I think it's pretty interesting there, what's going on. There's lots of unique things going on kind of on the mobile infrastructure side. And so I'm sure we'll see some really cool companies out of there, but probably won't be investing out of there anytime soon. I think we've got enough going on, so but we'll see.
Great. Well, Brendan, before we go here, what else are you doing here at South by Southwest? Are you guys talking on any panels? Let's give a few shout outs.
Shout outs. I'm about to go to the Clout Party, which will be a lot of fun. I'm going to be hanging out with the Techstars crew later tonight. I'm looking forward to that. Really just trying to meet great people. So if you're in Austin and you want to chat about your business, just shoot me a DM on Twitter at BMWales, and we can meet up. And I'll just be out and about and trying to meet cool people.
Great. Well, Brendan, thank you very much for joining us. And everyone out there, if you do want to see Brendan or meet up with him, give him a tweet, which we should have his hashtag, or excuse me, his name right below on the screen. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brendan.
All right. Thanks.